Let's Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your breaking news show with me and Sam. Big week ahead for Manchester United. Sam, looking forward to the FA Cup final.
Do you want me to answer that honestly?
Well, we've got a couple of topics related to
Yeah.
it a bit towards the end with Martial and stuff. So, with that in mind, are you looking forward to it?
In my head, it's going to be a dicking, and I'm just going to have to accept it. But then, the more I think about it, in that conversation me, you, and Chivy had, there is a side of me that thinks maybe we could do something.
A small piece
of me. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, let us know, guys, whoever's in the chat. Let me know what you think about the upcoming FA Cup final. We're going to dive into Diogo Dalot's new contract that's been signed today. A couple of news on outgoings with Harry Maguire, McTominay and Elanga. And then we're going to discuss a little bit of the FA Cup final and Anthony Martial towards the end as well. We have some big injury news on that. So, before I get into it, of course, you know what I'm going to say. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash the like on the video, and share to a friend as well. If you've got any friends who love football content and they like the stuff we put out, tell them to subscribe, tell them to smash like on the video, and tell them to get in the comment section as well. So I'm going to start with the breaking news with Diogo Dalot. It's obviously the biggest kind of topical starting point, Sam. Diogo Dalot has signed a new contract that will extend his stay with Manchester United until the 30th of June 2028 with an option of a further year. Dalot's come out with a couple of quotes. He says, "Delighted to extend my connection with this amazing club. This is my home. Looking forward to keep wearing this shirt with passion and make you proud and help the club achieve much more. As a group of players, we all feel like we are at the start of something special right now. I can assure you that I will dedicate myself relentlessly to helping this group to achieve our aims and make the fans proud of the team." And apparently Romano said he turned on interest from Italy, Spain and Germany in the recent years. So there's clearly clubs interested. They can clearly see a player in there. Are you happy you signed this new deal?
Yeah, he's a talented boy. Like, we've seen the first half of the season, he was key to Ten Hag's plans, playing really, really well. Assists, going forward, had a really sort of good relationship starting to blossom with Anthony. Seemed to be really, really good. Went to the World Cup, had a really good World Cup, I thought. Bruno played really well in the Portuguese team. Mm-hmm. And he came back for the World Cup, and he was injured, wasn't he? Going back for the World Cup. So Wan-Bissaka came in.
Was it hamstring that he pulled?
Something like that. And he went. So Wan-Bissaka came in, and that was like the renaissance of Wan-Bissaka, wasn't it? In that January, you're like, oh my God, he's actually good. And he just kept getting better. And then when Dalot was fit, you were kind of like, well, keep Wan-Bissaka in, because Wan-Bissaka's doing fantastically well, and he's kind of been on the outside since then. When he has come in, he's not looked awful, but he's not looked a shadow of the self he was before the World Cup. When he was phenomenal, he's not looked the same. Maybe that's lack of match sharpness, lack of rhythm, because Wan-Bissaka's just been playing. Maybe that's what it is, something to do with that. But I think he's a very talented player. I think he definitely should stay at Manchester United. But that does leave a question open. What about Wan-Bissaka now? Does Ten Hag want to keep him, or is he looking for somebody else, like a Frimpong, for example, or a Dumfries or whatever? Is he looking for somebody else? Or is he now thinking, these two guys are playing really, really well, there's competition to each other, they both offer slightly different things. I've improved Wan-Bissaka's going forward. Maybe I can improve Dalot's defensive game. So maybe he's happy with that, and then that's one less place I have to sort out in the summer, one less position. I can spend more money in other areas. So it's interesting. There's a couple of comments. I'll read a couple of them out. Brian Casey, happy for Dalot to be getting a new contract, being very dependable this season. Interested to see now what at least Wan-Bissaka said the same thing. Dalot is still improving. He's 23. That's what most people do not know. That's from Shrindi. He says, sell Maguire, buy Kim Min-jae, or even Kim Jong-un. I don't want Kim Jong-un near the team. Thank you very much. And then Jim Mack, why not? He's found some decent form at times. I trust the coaching staff to bring him on. And then Shrindi with Dalot could also be a left back if required, or anyone injured. That's the advantage. Yeah, that's another good point.
Yeah, it's a good point. And also to remember as well, a point to make is the fact that when Rangnick was in it, Dalot was the most improved player there, and everyone who's spoken about Dalot, who's close to the club, connections, even like someone like Laurie, who we had on the show yesterday. Make sure you check that out, by the way, guys, if you did miss that. We had Laurie Whitwell on. It was fantastic.
Yep.
Like, one of the best half an hours you'll see when it comes to like journalism and United content. So make sure you check that out after the show. But my point being, like, there's a lot of people who are connected to him and a lot of people connected to the club who all say very good things about him. Like, he's a really good trainer. He's got a lot of potential. He's only 23, I believe, or something around that mark. And when you've got Wan-Bissaka there as well, that was going to be my next question. You know, does Wan-Bissaka still want to go? Did the club want him to go? Like, how do you manage that? Because I've always said I don't see why that's a priority position. It doesn't make sense to me. And the Athletic reported it, didn't they? They said there was a striker and a right back. So how does that work now?
I think he was one of the only players that Ronaldo don't chuck under the bus as well in his interview, wasn't he?
Yeah, him and Lisandro, I think it was.
Bruno, I think he said Bruno as well. I think Bruno, Dalot, and Lisandro was the only ones. He said these guys that would have. So, yeah, there's good praise coming from the likes of Ronaldo. The feeling I have, if there's rumours like right backs and Ten Hag's, I have to think he's thinking tactically something different at the back. He wants to play something different, whether that's a back five or whether, like you said, it's a back three with wing backs and stuff like that. Because we're looking at Kim Min-jae, so that seems like there's a possibility there that he does play in a back three and he plays well in that system. So he
could play with a back three. Did they?
Sometimes he can. They have done it on occasion in Serie A. They haven't done it in the Champions League, but they have done it in Serie A. So he can play in that system. So maybe he's looking at a different way. Maybe not necessarily a back five, but maybe he's looking at a different way of playing out from the back. So Kim Min-jae is one of them, and then he's going to have the overlap because that's what a Frimpong likes to do, doesn't he? He loves the overlap. He's got, 8 assists this season, I think?
8 goals, 7 assists.
So that's the kind of player I think he's looking at. So maybe tactically he's looking a little different. So Wan-Bissaka, even though he's been in improvement on the forward front, I think he's less attacking minded and less of a threat than, say, a Frimpong was. Even though Wan-Bissaka, I think, has done very, very well this season. And I think he could, if he stepped up at that point, maybe he could go even further with another season under Ten Hag. Maybe he could step up again. Who knows? So, yeah, it makes me think tactically he's thinking of doing something different. Because there's rumours of getting 2 8s in there and playing with a double pivot. So there's tactically he might switch stuff around. So that's what I'm thinking. Why would be rumoured with a right back? There might be a change tactically.
I think he'll move on from the double pivot to the 2 8. So you'll have just your Casemiro and then you'll have your Mount and Bruno either side. I think that's the way he's going to go. Is he because they've got that much kind of energy to cover ground. Mount and Bruno, they could do that job together. But speaking of midfield, we've actually got a few comments here. So Shrundy's saying, is Fred really leaving? I really want Fred. He's a brilliant squad player. I don't want McTominay. Rather have Fred, man. The thing is, though, I think Fred's got there's a contract situation there. I think he's got like a year left or something. Yeah. So if you don't get any money for him this summer, then he leaves on a free next, or you have to sign into a contract. And I don't know how much realistically you would get for him, but if you're going to be cutthroat in this summer, why not?
I saw the Fulham rumour, and it's like supposedly 15 million. So I think that's about right, like, which sounds about right, because we were never going to get the 50 for him, would it? Like, we're never getting that
of course not.
So yeah, I think that's the rumour, and if that's the case,
price though, isn't it?
Yeah, if that's the case, well, it's the same as Dan James. Didn't he go for? Or did he go for a bit more?
Dan James, Dan James went for 15. Pereira went for 10 plus 5 in add-ons as well. So maybe there's a theme with Fulham there that they're just selling play for.
I think he'd be a good team for Fulham. I think he'd work well there. And if that gives us a bit of extra cash to go out and get that other world-class number 8 and that other world-class midfielder, then why not?
There's a lot less pressure at Fulham as well, but that's what I mean. Laurie was saying to us yesterday, it's hard because the clubs have to cover the contracts when they're selling them, because we're on such a big wage at United. To then go play for Fulham, who aren't in European football at all, do you know what I mean? It's a big drop-off there, so I don't know how they're going to get around that, and this is why sometimes transfers like that are not realistic. But we saw a video of Marco Silva after the United game chatting to Fred outside Old Trafford, so maybe there's something there. They both obviously speak Portuguese, so there might be something there. I'm not entirely sure. McTominay's moving to link to Newcastle. Again, similar situation with him, though. Like, I don't know wages. I'm not sure. I don't know how much Eddie Howe actually wants him.
I can't imagine Scott McTominay's on that much money.
Yeah.
Like, he's an academy product. He's come up through the system. I can't imagine he's on Jadon Sancho money, for example. I can't imagine he's on that much.
And it's not as if Newcastle are short for money either, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
So he'll leave as an FA Cup winner. Nice way to go out. Yes, Dan James around 30 million to Leeds and then to Fulham. Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, he's the only one we got a profit on, isn't he?
Profit.
Recently,
yeah. But yeah, just the last question on Diogo Dalot. I know you touched on it slightly. And again, I'll ask this to the viewers who are watching as well. Why do you think Diogo Dalot has dropped off so much? Or what is it in his game when you've watched him? So the comparison from before he went to the World Cup and then after, what has he dropped off in specifically, do you think?
I think it's lack of rhythm, lack of match sharpness, because like before the World Cup, he was playing every single game, wasn't he? Every single game. Like, Wan-Bissaka did not get a sniff. Like, I don't think he even got substitute appearances, did he? Like, Wan-Bissaka, I don't remember him like playing much.
Very rare, wasn't it?
Like, so I think he was just playing every game, and I think certain players, when they play every game, like much like Bruno, when they play every game in, game out, they just seem to get into this rhythm and just start motoring and being able to produce and just sort of do that sort of thing. And I think that's what it was. And then he went to the World Cup, obviously played really, really well for Portugal. They went quite far in the World Cup, got injured. I think that upset his rhythm, and then he didn't get immediately back into the team because Wan-Bissaka was playing so well. So maybe that dented his confidence a little bit. Lack of match sharpness, lack of match fitness, lack of rhythm. And then when he did have the opportunity to come back in, well, I believe Wan-Bissaka was ill, wasn't he? One game or something like that. And he came in, didn't look amazing by any stretch. But then when he played left back recently, he played quite well, didn't he? Like he had a good game when he had to play it when Shaw was at centre back and then Malacia was injured or suspended. I can't remember which one. But Dalot played left back, so he played well there. So I think it's just a matter of if he's playing regularly and he's playing games, I think that's where you see the best of Dalot. I think he's that kind of player. He's not like a Garnacho where you can bring him on 20 minutes to the end and he'll make an impact and he'll affect games. I think Dalot is one of those guys that you play in, week out, and then he produces the goods. That would be my opinion. Brian Casey saying 100% was the injury, stopped his momentum, saw it with Rashford a little bit towards the end of the season. So, yeah, could well be.
I feel like he had a certain intensity about the way he went forward before the World Cup. Like, when he got on it, he would always drive with the ball. And he's quite good at dribbling as well. Could beat a few man and actually put crosses into the box. I think regular partnerships playing with Anthony Moore will help develop that. But, yeah, it's one of them. Maybe it's just, like you said, ruining his momentum and then kind of towards the end of the season just trailed off a little bit. But with a proper pre-season, I think they'll be fine.
Do you know when you're at work and you work and then you get into this rhythm and you go on holiday for like 2 weeks and you come back and it takes you a while to get back in. Things take slower. You miss stuff and it's not quite there. I think it's that similar mentality, the sort of rhythm and routine.
Well, he's someone who's certainly staying anyway. He signed his contract until 2028 with a year option, so he's definitely going to stay. What happens with Wan-Bissaka, we're not entirely sure, but it's something we actually wanted to discuss was the outgoings and who seems more likely that they're going to leave this summer. And there's a couple on McTominay, Elanga, and Maguire. So I'll just read out the few articles and then we'll dive into them.
Before you say that, Brian's got a question. Could Ronaldo leaving have an effect on him? Because they were really close, weren't they? And then there was that dodgy photo where apparently they were cold to each other and it was a frosty photo or something like that.
I don't know. I don't think necessarily. I think they're all, at the end of the day, they're all professional footballers, so they should be able to focus on the game. I think the injury is the biggest one, where it's like 4 weeks out. You see Wan-Bissaka perform really well, and you think, shit, am I going to get back into this team? I think it's more of a mental block than anything personally, but you never know sometimes.
Like Shaw thrives well when there's competition, doesn't he? We've seen that. Like when he was playing poorly, Tellers came in, he upped his game, did he? Started playing well. And then when start of the season, obviously we had that bad start, Brighton and Brentford. Shaw came out of the team, Malacia came in. Malacia performed really, really well. Dropped off a little bit, Shaw came back in, and since then Shaw's been unstoppable. Like absolutely unstoppable. So yeah, it depends on the player, doesn't it? Really, like certain players step up to the plate when there's competition.
100%. But Eric Ten Hag definitely likes him. You've seen loads of quotes and loads of people talk about it. There is genuine. He likes
a 5-year contract. It's a 5-year contract. Yeah. Like it says it all, doesn't it? It's not a 1-year, 2-year deal. It's a 5-year deal. So.
Also tells you everything you need to know as well when teams like Barcelona and Dortmund and these kind of teams are interested in, because there's a talent there. There is, just needs to be nurtured right, and I believe under Eric Ten Hag, it will be. Some talents that won't be nurtured right. Harry Maguire, Rob Dawson from ESPN has been speaking about it and said even if Maguire departs, signing another defender is not high up on United's list. Ten Hag has an interest in Yuri and Timber, but feels other areas are in need of strengthening first. Romano said McTominay remains in the list of Newcastle. Is appreciated by Eddie Howe. Already wanted in January. Manchester United have not made any decision yet. It'll also depend on Eric Ten Hag's plans. And then Samuel Luckhurst has said as well, United have half their asking price for Anthony Elanga to 10 million. So we'll start with Harry Maguire first and foremost, Sam. If a centre-back isn't priority, we kind of touched on it then, right-back isn't priority, which we touched on with Dalot. That leaves an 8, a striker, and...
goalkeeper?
Do you think?
Because there was that quote, wasn't there, where they asked, is De Gea staying next season? He said, yeah, I want him here, but I'm not going to guarantee he's going to be the starter or he's going to be the first team.
Ooh.
That's what Ten Hag said. So, maybe there's a goalkeeper.
Competition, David Raya, something like that. Yeah,
because Brentford had just signed a goalkeeper, hadn't they? From
have they?
Yeah, literally today for like 12 million or something like that.
Oh, I'm not seeing that.
Where was he from? I can't remember where he's from. But yeah, they've just signed literally today a goalkeeper, so might be something.
Maybe there's something in it. Yeah, I'd bring him in. Certainly, competition. It's just whether David Raya would be like, yeah, I'll play for United, but am I going to be first choice? Is it? Do you know what I mean?
Maybe he backs himself to take that spot, take the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
Maybe
I would.
He knows De Gea. Like they both played for the Spanish team, so he knows him. He knows what he's like. So maybe he backs himself to go, I could take this spot away from him.
Yeah, 2 Davids going head to head. You can see all the media headlines.
Spanish Dave.
Yeah, potentially coming up. There's going to be so many. Quite a few comments. Shuni saying, I think Ten Hag really took control after the CR7 issue. That was the staple for me.
Yeah.
Handling that situation the way he did. Flawless. It was the way he did it. So yeah, I agree with you there, Shrinder. Shah Sam, we need to start a culture at United where nobody's guaranteed to start. Maybe always keep players ready and won't need time to recover then when they are out of the team. Competition for every position is effective under Ten Hag. Competition, we've been pushing this for ages. Since Eric Ten Hag came in, we said these players need a rocket up their arse. They really do, because some of them just think they're entitled, and players like Ronaldo were like, what do you mean you're dropping me? We're dropping you, mate, because you don't fit the system, and you was hindering it a lot. Likewise with Maguire.
Yeah, let's look at the stuff Maguire said in interviews. He was like, I must be playing well because he get picked every week. And it's just like...
that was Ollie's fault, that.
But that's what it feeds. He's like, in his head, he's like, I'm playing great. Like, I get picked every week. I'm the captain.
I get picked for England as well.
So it's just like, and it just... players into thinking, must be playing well because I'm getting picked every week. And it's just like, well, not necessarily, no. Some people play favourites, and like Brian Casey touches on there. I think Maguire's ego and his high wages could mean he doesn't leave this summer. Ten Hag said basically it's up to him. I mean, yeah, like if Maguire backs himself to the point that he thinks in his head how good he is, he should go, I want to play football, I'm leaving, because Ten Hag's basically saying to him, you're not going to play first team football for us. Like you're going to be 4th or even 5th choice in case of Luke Shaw playing centre back. So Brentford signed Mark Flecken from Freiburg, 11 million. Yeah, that was the guy I was talking about. Yeah. £11 million.
But if he says there, like, you know, if Maguire, it says in the bit there, even if Maguire leaves, it's not a priority. So what do? You just have 3 centre-backs? Like, how's that going to work?
You have to bring somebody in, don't you?
Surely. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know who or how or what. Like, maybe a cheap centre-back out there somewhere that's happy to be a third option. What happens if Lindelof decides that he wants to go play first team for Inter Milan or someone like that? Like, it could get risky there.
That's the problem then. Like, if Lindelof is thinking, well, I'm not going to be first team here, maybe I need to go play somewhere else. I know Inter Milan have been circling him, haven't they? Yeah. People like that, like looking at him. So maybe he's thinking that. They're in a Champions League final. I know they didn't compete for the Serie A, but like they're a high up team, so he can win trophies with them. I just think if we do sell Maguire, we need to go buy a centre back, whether that's a backup centre back or whether that's somebody who can challenge, say, Varane, for example, because Varane's getting on, he's 30, 31, his injuries have been an issue over time, and they might catch up to him at some point. I think we do need somebody in that mould who can challenge for that position, because I think Lissandro is your starter. Like, he's your guy week in, week out who's going to start most of the time. And you got Lindelof as your backup, so I think you need another guy who can you can bring in and say, look, you might not be first choice at the start, but if you work hard and you play well, you can take Varane's spot. So.
Yeah. Thing is, if you're going to go out and spend 20, 30 million on a young talent or a backup or something like that, you might as well just go spend the 45 million on Kim Min-jae and his release clause.
Yeah.
You might as well just fucking do it. Whether it's priority or not. If it isn't, then what is? Please do tell me, because I know we need a number eight, sorry. I know we need a striker.
Yep.
Goalkeeper, I just can't see him doing. I think De Gea will sign a new contract, and even Laurie Whitwell said that yesterday, didn't he? He said, I'm pretty sure that De Gea is going to sign a new contract. So, I don't know. Another outgoing that we was talking about, McTominay. I mentioned it. I'll just reread out what was said. Remains in the list at Newcastle. Appreciated by Eddie Howe. They wanted him in January. United not made any decision yet. It'll depend on Eric Ten Hag. This is one where we can actually get decent money. Newcastle will be a great move for him. Are there any reasons Ten Hag would keep him?
I mean, other than squad depth, but if one of the priority positions is a midfielder, then that suggests somebody has to go, don't they, in that midfield? If
Rabiot comes in and Mount as well.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're going to get two midfielders, a minimum one, but maybe two, that means you have to either ship one or two out. So that would suggest McTominay's on the chopping block, Donny and Fred, they're probably your three you're looking at going, I can get money for these and they can leave because they're not first team material, because Eriksen's going to play, Casemiro's going to play, Bruno's going to play. And then you probably want to keep a youth option around, whether that's Kobe Mainoo, whether that's Zidane Iqbal, I'm not sure. Keep one of them about in and around the team. And then, you bring in your two other players, whether that's Rabiot or Mount, I'm not sure. So that would suggest someone like a Scott McTominay, who academy products, if you sell him, it's all profit, innit? He's not cost you anything to buy. You developed him for the academy, so it's all profit. So, is it
the FFP implications with something like that, though? You have to have a certain amount of homegrown players.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's something. I don't know the finer details of it, but I'm sure that's involved.
I think we're all right, though, because we registered Ted Mengi, because he's technically homegrown.
Yeah. We've got Rashford, of course.
You've got Shaw. You've got Wan-Bissaka.
No, Shaw isn't.
He's homegrown.
Not homegrown.
He's English.
No, we bought him from Southampton.
Yeah, but homegrown means English. English.
It's academy, though, isn't it? Is it not academy players?
Homegrown means English talent.
Oh, right, okay.
English players.
Well, we're all right then. To be fair.
And then,
I thought you said I have to have a certain amount of academy players
it's just who English. You have English players who've played in England for a period of time. I think it's 5 years or something like that. Or the British born, for example. I think that's the case. Brian Casey, both Weghorst and Sabitzer not staying. Ten Hag obviously has someone in mind and been given a go-ahead to go get him. I mean, I wouldn't keep Weghorst if you paid me, to be honest with you, but that is what it is. Shrindi, we definitely need a centre-back, two centre midfielders and a striker. Yeah, I think that's what I would say. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I've always been under the illusion that it's going to be Kim Min-jae, Mount and Kane. That's what I think they're going to go for.
I don't think Kane's happening anymore. I'm starting to doubt that it's going to go on anymore.
I don't know, because he's like, I don't know, I keep referencing him, but he's obviously in the know. And even Laurie was saying yesterday that behind the scenes he's really, really pushing for him.
I'm sure he is, but how much is he going to cost?
Well, he got Anthony, didn't he? He spent 95 million or whatever it was to get him. So if he really wants him,
100+ million on a 30+-year-old striker with 1 year left on his deal.
But let me ask you a question. If he has the same impact as what Casemiro does and he can do it for a few years, would you take that?
If he wins us a title while he's at United, I probably would. I'd probably be like, yeah, fuck it, take the punt. 100 million's worth the title, innit?
It could very easily though go the opposite way, couldn't it? Where you bring him in.
He gets injured and then he's out for 4 months, 5 months, and then when he comes back, he's not the same player. Like, say he does his cruise shit or something, he's not the same player anymore.
What I'm kind of holding on to, though, is that you've got Benzema, who's 35. You've got Lewandowski, who's 34.
He's going to Saudi, though, isn't he? Benzema.
Yeah, Benzema is, but Lewandowski still would just win a league with Barcelona, top goal scorer.
Yeah,
so I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, if he's still operating at that level, like Lewandowski the most mobile, he's not quick.
No.
You know, he's more of a Osman type than a Kane type. But I don't know. I just think like if you could keep them until 34, 35, you get 4 years out of Harry Kane now at the level what he's doing, £100 million. I will fucking pay it, mate. I ain't got it, but I will pay it myself and ship him in. But you can't predict the future, unfortunately. So that's how it is. Red Devils TV, evening, lads. Big up to Red Devils TV, a new. I've seen the show a few times, so make sure you smash like the video.
He does some videos as well. He messaged me on Twitter, so yeah, if you want United content, go check him out. He does some decent videos, so yeah, go have a look at him as well.
Yeah, man. Apparently Kane wants to move to United according to his son. Make of that what you will.
Fuck off.
I won't pay any attention to the son, to be honest with you. Competition for DM position.
CDM, yeah.
So I think regardless, whatever kind of route you take, I'm going to touch on Elanga in a second, but whatever route you take, I think a position is going to get neglected. And for me, personally, I would not prioritise the right back. I've said this for ages. I prioritise goalkeeper. So I would go get a striker, I'd go get a centre mid, and I'd go get a goalkeeper. And if you could sell Maguire and get okay money for him, then bring in a third choice. That's what I would do personally. And then look at the free market like we did with Christian Eriksen as well. Go get a Rabiot and get a bit of depth in if you sell him at Tomine.
Yeah, it has to be strikers number one priority, doesn't it? That's be all, end all. Regardless of what happens in this window, we have to get a striker. I don't care what anybody else that has to be. You can't
go into this next season without a striker.
And then
it's just.
And then midfield is probably the other option, like the other one where you're like, we're in need of like a creative, press-resistant midfielder who can play instead of Eriksen at times. That's it. And then the other ones, I'm like, do we need a backup centre-back? Absolutely. Do we need another goalkeeper? Absolutely. Right back, I don't think we need. To be honest with you, I don't think that's a priority. So, yeah, striker, midfielder, and then centre-back or goalkeeper. One of them two I'd pick.
Yeah. Red Devils TV is just... Give me a perfect segue there. Thoughts on Elanga being valued at 10 million? That was literally the next thing we was about to discuss. Yeah, Elanga Sam, 10 mil. They've slashed the price, 50% off. Who would potentially buy him, do you think?
I'm surprised they would value him at 20 million, to be honest with you. Like, he hasn't played, has he played anything this year? Like, he played what?
He's played a couple of games, I think.
Has he? Jesus Christ. Yeah. If we can get 10 million for him, great. Like, I was surprised we got the money we got for Andreas Pereira, to be honest with you. Like, I was surprised we got, what was it, 12 million in the end? 10 plus add-ons. So, but he's doing bits for Fulham. Like, he's doing really well for Fulham. So, like, why not? I think he could do well at a lower club. I think he'd do well at, say, like an Everton, trying to think who else. Shrindi say
Nottingham Forest. Do you reckon?
Nottingham Forest, like yeah. Luton in town in action for Elanga. Shrindi saying, I don't know if Luton, maybe Luton. Yeah, promoted sides and stuff like that. I think he'd be all right at that kind of level.
Yeah. Is that his level though? Like bottom end of the Prem? Do you think?
Bottom end of the Prem, top end of the Championship. I'd say that's Elanga's level. Like I like the guy, I really do. I think he works hard. He's clearly an athlete. Just don't have the quality. Just lacks the end quality, I think.
Which is mad because under Ragnick again, he was like the standout kind of performer. He was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, yes, this guy looks like the real deal. Looks like he's doing bits. He's obviously limited. He's a great athlete, trains hard, but in terms of like technique and what he offers up top, very, very limited. We've got Mr. Friendly saying, I'm Indonesian, people. I need subtitles. I'm not sure does YouTube not offer subtitles? I thought they did.
I could look into it as an option.
Yeah, well,
maybe in the replay, maybe I can see if there's subtitle options. I'll check.
I'm sure YouTube should do it anyway, but yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Maybe not live, but I think on the replay for sure. I'll have a look. I'll have a look and see if there's any settings I can switch on. Mr. What was his name? Mr. Friendly. Yeah.
Mr. Friendly. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new around these parts and smash a like on the video as well to let us know you enjoyed the content. We're going to discuss the last topical item now, and that is Anthony Martial out of the FA Cup. Martial got injured whilst Eric Ten Hag was delivering his end of the season speech, pumping up the players and the fans for the FA Cup final. You can't make this. You really can't write this shit, honestly. And when you look at this season, Sam, Ronaldo, Martial, Weghorst, 7 goals in the Premier League this season. What Erik ten Hag has achieved is unbelievable. Third in his first year without a striker essentially at
no
all.
Strikers.
But what do we do with Anthony Martial? Honestly, where do we go from here now? Because
that video is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. By the way,
which video?
Was it Paddock who tweeted it, where he's doing the speech and then he's feeling his hamstring, and then and then Paddock put Erik ten Hag's speech was so invigorating that Martial pulled his hamstring during the
yeah.
So funny. I'd say sell him, but he must be on a fair whack on his wage, wasn't he? What is he on, like 200 grand plus? 250?
Yeah, 250s I think he's on.
So, like, who's buying him? Who's paying those wages, man? Like Laurie said yesterday, we're gonna have to substitute that and pay his contract off to a point. So it's gonna cost us a shit ton of money. I don't think he's worth that much in terms of like monetary value. I can see someone buying him, but like, we're not going to get much for him, are we? We're not going to get, like, what, 20 million if we're lucky?
I don't know. You know what I mean? Really don't know. It's hard to evaluate him because whoever it is who's buying is going to be a risk. They're not going to pay his wages. And they're not going to spend a lot of money on the transfer fee. If you look at his injury record, you're like, what? I'm going to get 10 games out of him in a season, and you expect us to pay 30 million. Like, maybe go into a different league without the intensity of the Premier League and how many games we played. Maybe that'd help. But
Italy, maybe?
I don't know. I think the best thing that'd happen for us is if that thing in China was still going, where they're like paying players ridiculous money.
Saudi Arabia, are they taking?
Maybe. I don't know. I've seen someone reporting that Santi Jason. I can't remember the name of the journalist, but I think that's just for clicks. To be honest, I don't see it happening, and I also don't think Martial would go there personally. But I don't know.
I think he'd be perfect for Italy. I think the Italian league would be.
I agree.
Really good for him. Really slow. Hold up play. You don't have to be like intensity like the Premier League, because clearly the intensity of the Premier League, his body can't deal with it. Like you just can't, because he's. I think the latest run of games that he's had is the longest he's had injury free for a long time, isn't it? Like, and he's been taken off at 60 odd minutes.
60th.
Every time. So he's not even played a full 90, as far as I can remember. So it just shows you like the level he's at. His body's letting him down. Like I don't want to have a go at him, and I don't want to say it's his fault, because it isn't. It's not his fault. Like he's not doing it on purpose. But his body just can't cope with the rigors of the Premier League. He's just not up to the job. So maybe it's time for him to move on. Like, and I think if we do bring in, say, a Harry Kane, he's not going to get many minutes anyway. So maybe it's time for him to move on. Red Devils TV, anything more than 50 million, be like winning the lottery. I like Martial, but end of the day, time for us to part ways. Brian Casey's had 8 years to prove he can be our number one striker. Time is up. Yeah, I think people's patience is running a bit thin with him.
Yeah, and you can only imagine Erik ten Hag as well.
Yeah,
I mentioned there Weghorst, Ronaldo, and then Martial this season. It's just like basically a lottery of not shit strikers, but strikers situations that you don't want to have to deal with. Like, we should have never ever gone in for Weghorst.
No, well, it's like Ronaldo, one of the best strikers of all time, but past his best, and ego would not let him see his ability wasn't there anymore. Anthony Martial, the potential and glimpses of one of the best strikers I've ever seen, his touch and all that, body lets him down. Weghorst works hard, puts a graft in, does everything for the team, can't score a goal.
Yeah, so I always think of it as, would any top level team sign him right now?
No.
And then that's your question answered for you, whether we should keep him or not. If your answer is no, then you know what to do.
Chelsea need a striker. Would they sign him? No.
Doubt it. No. Nkunku's coming in it. They're spending $1 million on Nkunku.
Liverpool probably need a striker now because Firmino's left. Is he better than Firmino? I don't think so.
No.
City are never taking him over Haaland. Not even taking him over Julian Alvarez. So that sort of says it all, really.
Even Gabriel Jesus doesn't score a lot for Arsenal, but in terms of what he brings for them, they take him over Martial all day. So I think that's what I mean. It's time to Martial realise that the next step now is probably a level up, Europa League kind of football, that kind of situation for a Fiorentina or a Sevilla, or, well, not Sevilla, because we know how that kind of went. The last question on Anthony Martial, Sam, who do you start up top FA Cup final then? I know we've got the preview coming up, but just the one kind of situation, which way do you go then?
Anthony is supposedly fit, because Ten Hag snuck that by in a press conference, didn't he, before the Fulham game, that he will be fit for the FA Cup final. Whether that's he's fit to start or whether he's fit to be on the bench, I don't know. He didn't get into specifics. So that could be an option. And then you play Rashford down the middle, Sancho on the left. But I think Sancho's shown his best form on the right recently, hasn't he? Like, last 2 games he's played on the right, he's been decent. So then you're like, if Anthony's not fit, maybe you play Sancho on the right, Rashford down the middle, Bruno on the left. Maybe you do that. Because I like Garnacho a lot. I really do. He's my favourite. Sorry, he's one of my favourite players. Like, who plays for United at the minute. Like, I
should start breaking down then.
Almost, yeah. Choking up. Like you with it's like you with Ahmad. I think he's one of the best talents we have at this thing. But that is a hell of a lot of pressure to put on a 19-year-old kid. FA Cup final against the Premier League champions, a Manchester derby, and arguably one of the best teams in Europe right now. Like, they mopped the floor of Real Madrid a couple of weeks ago. They're probably going to wipe the floor of Inter Milan in the Champions League final. And they've done the league, even though Arsenal had a 9-point lead at one point in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So that is a hell of a lot to put on a young kid. Not that I don't think he's good enough or that he couldn't handle it, but that's, if it goes wrong and we get battered, does that ruin his confidence for a long time?
That'll be the first question from the media, won't it? Why did you start? You think you should have started him in a left wing, after you've just been beat 5-0 by Manchester City? But I've got kind of one response to that and one question that I want to throw to people in the chat as well. When we scored the winner against them, the start of this year, who got the assist and who got the goal?
Yeah, but I think it's the next level though, because it's a final, there's a trophy on the line. City have already won something, and they're the better team right now. But again, like we said with me, you, and Chivy, in these situations, United deliver a lot of the time. Like, when our backs against the wall, when nobody gives us a chance, and when it looks like we're just absolutely done and dusted, we pull out results. It's happened decade after decade after decade.
Remember Mourinho was it Mourinho with Spurs, and we had to beat Spurs and someone else. I can't remember. Oh no, it was Ole, I think. Yeah, we had to beat Spurs and City, or Spurs or someone else. Someone will remind me in the chat. They'll know what I'm on about. And we pulled it out of the bag. We did it.
Paris with Rashford under Ole. Like the treble.
City under Ole as well, but he's waving in the thing when McTominay scores that last minute one as well. I think a counter-attacking team, if executed right, if you have Marcus as a 9 as well, you can exploit that. But it just depends how Pep approaches it tactically, because he's got a lot of players at his disposal to put out these fires we could offer. That's what I feel like.
I just feel like if you put Rashford on the left against Kyle Walker, I don't think it goes well.
Might not get chewed out of him. And then equally the right hand side, like, you could play the left back for them, but our right hand side, you could play a Kanji there who's like absolutely solid. Ake's solid there. I don't know if he's still injured. Sometimes plays fucking Bernardo Silva at left back. It's just like
mental. You
have no idea what to prepare for. No. So, but look, it's even in it. It's kind of the trilogy, if you will. You've had them beat us at the Etihad. We beat them at Old Trafford, and now it's time for a neutral game at Wembley. So, sets it up for a very important tie.
Stop a treble. We've got to stop a treble. There's a couple of comments I'll read out, and then we'll get going. Shrindi, Rashford, Martial, Sancho was what was expected. Reality is often disappointing. Yeah, it looked good in pre-season, didn't it? Like, it looked really, really good.
Really good. Yeah.
Shrindi saying Weghorst thumbs up. I don't know if that means he would start Weghorst in the final, but fucking hell.
Big call.
Brian Casey, Rashford down the middle, and then Shrindi, our workhorse will kiss the ball and City players will miss the goals. They're just going to curse the ball again.
Bless him.
Brian Casey, it's written in the stars for Weghorst to come on and get a late winner. Like, Jay Motti has started this shit, hasn't he? He came on the channel and now he's saying fucking Weghorst is scoring this FA Cup
Laurie
final.
said it as well, didn't he?
Laurie said it as well. Like, Jesus Christ. Shrindi, I think Garnacho could take this pressure. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Red Devils TV, Vegas and Maguire to score in the final. Jesus Christ, can you imagine?
The odds are outrageous. Outrageous. But we won look, we won the Carabao Cup final and Vegas started in that game, didn't it? So you never know, we might go with him, but I think that's a huge risk. I think it's very limited. I think if he does, Pep will be like,
I'm having this.
Yeah. So I think Pep is setting up for Marcus Rashford at number 9 on the counter attack. I think he knows what's coming. And judging how they played with Real Madrid, hey, fucking hell, it's going to be a very tough game. But we'll save the rest for the preview. We're going to have the preview on Friday, I think.
Friday.
Yeah. I do believe, Brian. I see your comment, and I do believe. Trust me, I'm one of few who do believe. Not many are going into it with optimism.
You taught Chivy round, didn't you? You taught Chivy round. So Chivy believes now. Chivy believes.
Yeah. We all have to believe together. That's what we do. We're a fan community. It's united, and that's how we should go into this game. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Make sure you do leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and drop us a message as well. Let us know what you think of the content. It's important to get feedback off you guys and know what kind of stuff you like, and we'll kind of adhere to that and see what's what. But yeah, we've got some more plans coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks. A few more guests popping on as well. Got one on Thursday, which will be really exciting, and we're working on a couple more things. But yeah, it's exciting time for the channel. It's just going like that, up and up and up, and that's thanks to all of you guys. So really appreciate every single one of you, and I'm sure Sam kind of echoes them thoughts.
Yeah, check us out on socials: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, news, lovely graphics, clips from the show, funny moments, all the good stuff. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It only gets better and only gets bigger if you guys contribute and subscribe. If you would like to become a Real Reds member, please do consider. It's about £4 a month. You get exclusive content, mostly delivered by Nick. Occasionally, I will jump on, but mostly Nick's little deal. And you get a badge next to your name, and then you will get an opportunity to get on the show once we fill out our starting 11. I think there's 2 spots left, I believe. So, yeah, get on that if you want to be in with a chance. And then, yeah, check out our interview from yesterday with Laurie Whitworth in The Athletic. I think it's arguably one of the best things we've done that wasn't where it's just us on the channel, like one of our best sort of things we've done as a channel. I'm really proud of it. I'm sure Nick is as well. We worked really hard on interesting questions and interesting stuff, and Laurie was very gracious enough to give us his time, and as he's a busy man, as I'm sure you all know the amount of stuff he puts out. So yeah, go check that out if you haven't already. It's really good piece, and it's not long either. It's about half an hour, 40 minutes, so it won't take too much of your time up.
Yeah. And we've got a special guest tomorrow at 6:30. We've not announced it yet. We'll keep an eye on socials as well, and you'll see. It's very interesting, and there'll be a lot of insight into the ownership. So make sure you come and join us for that. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. See you in a bit.
Peace.